is Raphael Kevin Nainagal and admitted under the PhD in Science Education, major in Biology program of West State University. Graduated from the same university, College of Nursing, I have earned a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree as cum laude last 2007. I finished my master's at Atlantic State University and also a licensed nurse and teacher with certificates in international English exams like IELTS and OET. I also won several awards in research, both local and international. My hobbies include watching movies and reading Japanese manga. Once again, this is Raphael Kevin Ainagal, a nurse, a teacher, a researcher, a module developer, and more importantly, a lifelong learner.
Hindi na tayo mag-introduce naman ni Doc Paris. So we will start with you, Sir Kevin. Okay, so again, the jury for Sir Kevin and Ma'am Castor, okay, will be Ma'am Apple, Sir John Ray, and Ma'am April Rose. Okay, Sir Kevin, if you are ready, we will start.
Good afternoon, classmates and Doc Paris. My name is Raphael Kevin Ainagal, and I'm currently enrolled in the PhD in Science Education program, major in Biology of West State University, College of Education. The title of my study is The Dialectics of the Genitals, Unravelling the Diversified Perception in Teen Reproductive Health using the Vernacular, Basis for a Comprehensive Sexuality Education, IEC material. So my alternative titles are as follows. First, Grounded Genitalia, Temperance, Hedonism, and Other Queer Reactions Relative to Reproductive Health Education and IEC Material Development. The second one, the third alternative title is Penis and Vaginas Dialogue, Understanding Teaching Reproductive Health Education Towards the Development of Gender-Sensitive IEC Material. Well, reproductive health is defined by the World Health Organization as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. In all matters relating to the reproductive system and to its functions as well as its processes. Well, despite abundant evidence of the benefits of this curriculum-based comprehensive sexuality education, far too few children and adolescents receive it. Well, the purpose of reproductive health is to stem population growth through the provision of comprehensive health education, aside from the access to the health system. However, it seems that the interventions aiming for reproductive health is inefficient, as seen in recent statistics. In a recent article by the CNN, the Philippines Commission on Population and Development reported over the weekend that births among girls ages 15 and under increased by 7% in 2009. So it means that the CSE, or the Comprehensive Sexuality Education, is not that effective. Well, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or the UNESCO, in 2018 has created the standards in creating such program in education. Its holistic and interactive approach aims to cultivate the attitudes, life skills, and information students will need to protect their sexual and reproductive health and rights, as well as to effect good change in their communities. This was further emphasized by the RH law in 2012. This one is the law that mandates that reproductive health education be integrated in public school curriculum. In consonance to this policy, educators, especially science teachers, are obliged to teach reproductive health in most of the subjects such as PE, health, science, and social science. Now, the Philippines, despite being in the 21st century, is still bound by tradition and culture. And in that tradition, the topic about sex is a taboo. This is further amplified by religion, as most Filipino families are religious and follow the teachings of their respective churches. It is a known fact that the Catholic Church is the largest religion in the country and greatly hosts some of the provisions of the law. Now, the teaching learning process of the reproductive health may incite varieties of reactions. So laughing is a common reaction at the sight of these genital organs. Well, however, these reactions are further aggravated when the vernacular versions of these organs are used, such as this one: putay, buto, bilat, burat, burlo, tarugo, and more importantly, itot. So, like for example, if ever you will introduce something that is like vernacular, like use of this one.
Panahon, wala pa ang tipid. Lahat ay nabiyayaan ng iisang hari. Walang bumubukol, kumakalay-kalembang. Walang itinatali sa bandang kawitan.
All right. So when you introduce vernaculars in the teaching of comprehensive sexuality education, feelings such as disgust, hatred, silence, or of course, the most common one, laughter, are usually generated. Now, the Philippines Council of Health Research and Development in 2016 emphasized in its research priorities a responsive health system. These strengthened health system are related health education, which can be best achieved through a comprehensive health education. This is further emphasized by the DEP Ed Order number 31 years 2018, where the research agenda says that this is the policy guidelines on the implementation of CSE, or Comprehensive Sexuality Education, and that is to enact the PH law. To further the basis of the study, this is also in consonance with the West Visayas State University's research thrust and priorities at number 3, health and disease management, at this one. Now, understanding beliefs, perceptions, and reactions of students and teachers on the teaching learning process of sexuality education diffuses discomfort around stigmatized topics and identities. This also disrupts oppressive norms about sex and our bodies. And it also builds communities that enhance learning. So using the grounded theory approach in unraveling these phenomena, while normalizing the use of the dialect and providing comprehensive sexuality education, will help in finding appropriate strategies in the teaching the concept. And thus, this will enhance acquisition of knowledge and awareness regarding reproductive health. And of course, this will cascade into the prevention of the repercussions of whatever is the ignorance of sexuality education is. Hence, study just aim to identify the various perceptions and reactions of both teachers and students as basis in creating a gender-sensitive and socioculturally suitable sexuality education towards the development of an IEC material. There are 4 clusters of theories for sexuality education that will be used in the study. The first one will be the neurobiological theories. These theories are responsible for the explanation of our body's physiological responses on sex itself by Masters and Johnsons as well as Buss and Schmidt. Follow the developmental theories by Sigmund Freud for psychoanalysis, Erik Erikson psychosocial theory, Harry Steck's interpersonal theory, Kohler's theory of moral development, and Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. The third set of theory are the social, cultural, and health-related theories, most especially Rosenstock's health belief model, also Eisen's the theory of planned behavior, as well as Bandura's social learning theory. And finally, it is also anchored to cognitive theory, such as Vygotski's cognitive development theory, as well as Brunner's discovery learning theory. The part of the study starts with the fusing of the perceptions, beliefs, and reactions on comprehensive sexuality education of students as well as teachers, so that a theory can be generated, or a microtheory can be generated to explain the phenomena and accompanied by the comprehensive sexuality education, especially if we utilize the vernacular or the dialect. And with that, a material can be produced which is localized, gender sensitive, and sociocultural appropriate IEC material on reproductive health. So the questions that this study will answer as follows. Well, the study aims to understand the diversified perceptions and reactions of students and teachers in the teaching learning process of reproductive health as basis for the development of the gender sensitive IEC material. So this study will answer the following. First, the students' perceptions, beliefs, and common reactions towards the vernacular discussion of comprehensive sexuality education, followed by number two, the teachers' perceptions, beliefs, and common reactions. Third, what will be the gender-sensitive, sociocultural appropriate, and local comprehensive sexuality education lessons that can be developed based on number one and number two? Number three, what are the emerging tenets associated with the students' and teachers' perceptions, beliefs, and common reactions towards comprehensive sexuality education? Number five, what IEC material can be created based on the emerging propositions of the study? Number six will be about the evaluation of these IEC materials on the experts and the students' perceptions. And finally, number eight, the effectiveness of the IEC material in enhancing knowledge with regards to sexuality education. So the following terms are defined in the study. First, the CSE, or the Comprehensive Sexuality Education. This refers to sexuality education to be conducted during the conduct of the study, in which the language of instruction is a combination of neutral, Akrianon, and English. The topics are not limited to the following, but may include reproductive systems anatomy and physiology, menstrual cycle, pregnancy, contraception, sexually transmitted diseases, and parenting. The next material, or I mean the next definition, is about IEC. Well, the IE that is to be developed refers to pamphlet-sized CSE using neutral Akrianon, as well as localized drawings or illustrations. The experts are, of course, the psychologists, LR coordinators, health experts, guidance counselors, and those teachers teaching the subject. The students will be my students in school where I am the head teacher, Kalibo Integrated Special Education Center. The vernacular in the study refers to Akrianon, neutral Akrianon dialect of the people of Aklan. So the study will be significant to the following people: the DepEd and school administrators, Department of Health, of course, curriculum designers, comprehensive sexuality education teachers, students, as well as future researchers. So the study, for the scope and limitation, involves the development of gender-sensitive and sociocultural appropriate IEC material in CSE. And this is through identifying the perceptions, beliefs, and reactions of teachers, as well as of students, on the conduct of the CSE. Well, this is also guided by the RH law in 2012. A design research will be utilized as the research design of the study, incorporating both grounded theory and quasi-experimental, pre-test post-test design. Well, for the development of this research, well, the design thinking model by David Kelly will be utilized. The participants are both students and experts, and the gathering of data will be conducted in the next school year whenever possible. For the RFL, the following are major topics. First, the discussion of the design. Second, the CSE, as well as the use of dialect. The third and fourth will be about the beliefs, common reactions of students as well as teachers, and of course, justification of those reactions, and the ideal IEC material in sexuality education. Also, how do we evaluate IEC materials as well? And of course, it will be synthesized at the end. For my design, as I mentioned, I will be using design research. This is the most appropriate research design when we're looking for possible solutions for an identified gap. And this will incorporate both grounded theory for the qualitative aspect of the design research, as well as the quasi-experimental for the quantitative aspect. Now, design thinking model will be utilized in the process of the validation and evaluation of the product and the revised IEC material. So these are the 5 stages of the design thinking, which I will be discussing later on. So the participants are 60 students and 60 experts from ISEC. The following are the instruments to be utilized: the researcher-made test, FGD protocols, interview guide, and IMEF, or the IEC material evaluation form, which I created and will be validated by the experts. So to discuss the design thinking model, we start off with empathize. That's the first step. Moment, initial FGD protocols will determine teachers and students' prior perceptions, beliefs, and reaction as CSE. Now, it will be followed by the second stage, which is define. At this moment, formulation of the lesson plan and suggested scripts in the conduct of CSE based on the FGD protocol, of the first FGD protocols will be created, followed by the conduct of that lesson plan, and followed by a series of participant observation during the conduct of CSE, as well as followed by FGDs and interviews. The ideation part, or the third stage, this is theory generation. Here, I will be integrating the generated tenets to the design of the prototype of the IEC material and the documentation of the IEC material's instructional, visual, and technical design so that it can be added to the prototype. Now, the fourth stage is the prototype. Wherein this is the time where I will be creating the prototype IEC material. Then it will be piloted or pilot tested to a set of people. And evaluation of this prototype will also commence, as well as FPD with experts and students on why did they evaluate the prototype as such. And finally, the fifth stage, which is testing. Here, the comments, suggestions, recommendations to the final IEC material will be integrated. And also, a teacher-made test will be administered to students before and after the utilization of the final IEC material. And the IEC material will be evaluated by the experts and the students as well for final revisions. Now, here's the matrix of the procedure. For questions number 1, 2, and 3, the same source of data will be utilized: in-depth interview, the IDI and FGD, participant observation, and literature review. Instrument to be utilized will be interview guide and FGD protocol. Analysis of data will include transcription, translation, coding. Open coding will be utilized following the undergrounded theory, and then thematic analysis and literature review. Now, for question number 4 and 5, the same things will be utilized for the matrix. For question number 6 and 7, well, for the evaluation part, survey results of IMEF and FGD protocols will be used as source of data. Instrument will be IMEF and FGD protocols. So here, the quantitative aspect of the research will follow. So mean, SD, transcription, translation, coding, and thematic analysis will be utilized. For number 8, the effectiveness of the IEC materials when it comes to knowledge acquisition. So the result of the researcher-made test will be utilized, and of course that will be the instrument. And mean and t-test will be used for data analysis. Now, here are some of my references. I did not actually add the rest because there's a lot. And thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I am now open for your comments and questions and ready for the interpolation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Kevin. Okay, so we will ask our panel of jury for their comments and suggestions. Sino gusto mauna? Si Ma'am Apple, are you ready to give your suggestions or comments?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. But before, good afternoon, Sir Kev.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you for giving us a very interesting research topic. So though in this kind of study, I think a lot of ethical review will be conducted since this kind of topic, a lot of sensitive matter will tackle. But my question for you, sir, what ethical challenges you are projecting or expecting from your study? Since this is a very sensitive issue for the students and for the community also.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also one of the hindrances here, but we are going to address it at the beginning of the conduct of the study. We're in orientation that first, this is the ins and outs of the studies. So, well, non-maleficence will be emphasized in the ethics of the study. Like, for example, the study will not cause harm to the students, but rather it will improve their knowledge acquisition as well as awareness, and thus also decrease the occurrence of the negative aspects of the of non-adherence to the RH law, as well as also those people who are not actually in consonant with the provisions of the law. Now, the law actually emphasized that it's beneficial to people, the comprehensive sexuality education, and thus, with that, it will actually provide another ethical consideration, which is beneficence, which means that the study itself will be beneficial to the target beneficiaries.
Thank you, Sir Kev. Ma'am Apple, do you have more questions for our
Uh,
comments?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Additional question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What grade do you intend to conduct the studies, sir, in case?
Okay, I'm so sorry it's not written in the presentation, but in my manuscript it's written that it's junior high school. So they are actually usually minors. From junior is from 13 or 12 years old until 18 years of age. But take note that the provisions of the RH law emphasize that the comprehensive sexuality education will be should be administered from as early as grade 4. So we already have that. So I think it will be safe to say that it should be as is. Now, I think what you were trying to say is that the use of vernacular. So actually, that's what we're going to emphasize. Even in the nursing industry, we are actually emphasizing the use of the proper terms for putay and buto, and not to be irked at the word or at the hearing of the words themselves, but rather to accept them as part of our body. So with that, we will be teaching these junior and senior high school students the acceptance and awareness of their body.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Last question, Sir Kev. Do you think, sir, it is appropriate to inform parents first before
Of course.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm so sorry. I did not emphasize that. But in the first part of the design thinking model, the empathize, orientation, as well as the waivers, parents' consents will be secured first from the parents prior to for the conduct of the study. So the ins and outs, everything should be given.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And of course,
Congratulations.
the common protocols wherein it should be approved by the division, by the school heads, and everyone.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Apple. We'll proceed with Sir John Ray, if you have any comments.
Yeah, actually, some of the questions that I'm supposed to ask was already asked by Ma'am Apple, no. But anyway, I think I still have two or three questions for you, Sir Kev. Congratulations, by the way,
Yes,
for
sir.
bringing this kind of study that may widen the perspective of well, possibly the society in a whole, considering the fact that there are a lot of factors that triggers discomfort in terms of hearing those kind of words, especially in the minors. So anyway, congratulations. And this is my question, sir. How are you going to conduct the study, particularly in getting the data coming from the respondents without causing discomfort, considering the fact that the words that they may hear, well, there's a challenge. Okay, that's part of your study, considering the words that they're going to hear is somewhat like sensitive. Oo. Yes,
Mm-mm.
sir.
Well, actually, sir, I will not actually filter those words because it's part of the study. The study attempts to generate theories relative to the use of these dialects. of the vernacular terms per se, and the conduct of the study itself. So through participant observation, we will be able to generate those, which are actually happening in our everyday discussion of the study or of the subject about sex and reproduction, right? So with that, we will be able to gather authentic data regarding these expressions, these reactions or perceptions of the students,
Okay, sir.
as well as, of course, teachers.
Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned about the participation of experts and teachers and students in your study. Is it possible that you can also include another respondents like the parents' perception? Kasi most of the education, I think this is my personal opinion, that education for sex education must be first introduced in their house, because I think the best teacher that could teach the students are the parents. Wherein uh, well, there's also a gap between that, the education between the parents and the students regarding the sex education. Is it possible if we ca if if that's too, if it's not too much, to include parents or even the church perception regarding sex education?
Well, church's perception in general can be generated through RRLs or data from literature, because as you can see, most of them actually have one core. The church itself has have one core idea about the RH law itself, and they still contradict it. They have some reservations, but they accept. Now, for the parents, I think that's a good idea, but I will not include them in the conduct of the CSE to students. The experts will be there as observers. Now, the parents will not be. If I would be studying them, they would be on a separate comprehensive sexuality education class, so that I can also generate, because if you're a parent and your children is watching and your children are watching, then of course you will also have to control your emotions, so that you will act as what you have said, will be a role model. And you're actually correct. Based on the literature that I have read, parents should be one of those teacher facilitators in providing CSE at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And then, sir, you mentioned about quasi-experiment, no?
Yes.
Quasi-experiment. How many weeks are you going to conduct the uh, what would be your intervention here, no? Though parang you're going to present the formulated material out of the theory generated. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. That after creating the theory, or once we created some theory, then we will be creating the prototype material, pilot test it, and all. So, well, after pilot testing, that's the time that we are going to conduct the actual testing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
at this
how
point,
many weeks is that, sir? How many weeks is that?
did you see at the right side, sir, at the farthest corner of my presentation? There's the time frame there. CSE can be done in a week. I already saw the entire material from UNESCO, and we can actually frame it for like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Pero the
the
duration
IEC
of
material,
IEC, 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks lang, sir. I mean, the
ano,
intervention,
sir,
ang intervention of your IEC material, okay?
yeah,
IEC that will be implemented for how many weeks?
the IEC material, take a look at testing, sir, at the bottom part. So on the farthest right-hand corner, you can see there 2 weeks, because I will no longer conduct a comprehensive sexuality education during the conduct of this quasi-experimentation. What I will be using is the IEC itself. I will give it to the students. Prior to that, I will give them a test, and then give them the IEC material to read for 1 week. So after that, then I will again do the testing using the same or the similar teacher-made test. afterwards to determine their knowledge regarding the IEC. So within 2 weeks, it can be accomplished.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sir John Ray. I'm
Thank
sorry
you, thank
to
you.
cut you
Yes,
short.
yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Sir
kulang sa-
Kevin. Congratulations.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
sir.
let's hear kay Ma'am April Rose.
Good
Ma'am
afternoon.
April,
Yes, Ma'am Bern.
pwede mo ka lang kabidang ng question para hindi mag-overtime?
Isapon ko lang, Ma'am Bern.
Okay.
Anyway, oo. May
Sige, Ma'am.
which
Thank you.
already mentioned some which I had in mind. Okay, first I would like to congratulate Sir Kevin for presenting a thought-provoking topic, no, sa iyang concept paper. Sir, you mentioned bala that this study, no, you will be using participants coming from the junior high school. Am I correct?
Junior and senior high school.
Junior high school.
Junior and senior high school. ma'am.
Okay. Junior and senior high school. So, sir, what are your bases sa mga concepts or topics? Because sex education, no, is actually tackled sa may mga quarters in junior high school science and also sa ilang health, sa ilang MAPE. Oh, so sir, where are you going to base the topics which you will include in your formulated nga sir nga IEC, no, based sa imo nga
Yes,
gin-generate nga theory?
That's a good question, ma'am. Actually, my basis on this one will be the standardized comprehensive sexuality education program by UNESCO, which is
So sa
actually given to the
UNESCO,
Department
sir.
of Health.
So
Yes,
you won't base your sir your IEC sa CG sang iya ka DepEd.
No, sir. No, ma'am. Because although it's actually integrated to those subjects, my primary
Yes.
purpose is to integrate the CSE itself as a body, the comprehensive sexuality education itself as a whole.
Okay. So, sir, nang follow-up question lang. Since you mentioned that you're going to choose your participants from junior high school and senior high school, no? How are you going to to pinpoint, no? Because I assume that you will do purposive sampling for this. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Oo. So,
Okay.
like,
So,
what are your bases? Anong basihan mo, sir? Because, like, for example, students, no, would allow themselves to be subjected to your study, but ang parents hindi naman, or ang ila religion. Because since we are in public school, may gid man dira nga mga students naton coming from ng conservative religion. So, how are you going to sir, to ensure na hindi ka man, sir, madelikado kay basig lang mareklamuhan ikaw sang parents kag sang syempre sang other stakeholders?
a good question. Actually, it's mentioned earlier that this is voluntary participation. Although I will be choosing my respondents based on the following criteria, especially for the FGD. First, they must have attended a sexuality education class before. So it could be from grades 4 until their high school years. Second, they must be grade 7 to grade 12, and they must be verbose, meaning they are able to express their ideas. And of course, the ethics in that is that the students or any participants involved in the study will not be forced to participate if they don't want to. As always, what we are always doing in conducting researches, it's always voluntary. And the thing is, the reporting of the data will be collected, collated, and corroborated as a group rather than individual.
Thank
Okay,
you
Sir
very
Kevin.
much. Sorry, Gid, I have to cut this short. We have to proceed to our next presenter. Before that, Sir Paris, you have something
Yes.
to come.
Let me always be the last person to make comments. I'm just listening to the interaction, and I could see that the topic presented to us of Mr. Nagal is very challenging and actually very controversial. Ever since, of course, if we are going to talk about reproductive health, there are so many opposing views, dissenting opinions about how it can be handled, how it can be presented in the classroom. So, kaya ako mismo gani pag-mention mo Kevin sa mga terms to bla, do nagplanindo nga blahibo ko. Well, so that's how it is, no. Now ang comment ko lang, Kevin, I could see that you have learned a lot from your PhD courses. As much as possible, you wanted to incorporate all of what you have learned from different subjects to your dissertation. I could see design thinking, I could see quasi-experimental, I could see grounded theory, design research, and I could also see ICS material. Okay. First of all, you have to think of the time element. Time element, time constraint. You are given only per policy of the graduate school. You are given only 1 year to finish your dissertation. So, having quasi-experimental, it will take you about how many weeks? If we are going to develop an easy material, then how many weeks are you going to allot for that particular development? So if you are going to do grounded theory, and since qualitative research would require really a longer period of time for data immersion until such time you can get saturation of your theoretical models, then it will take again some time. So therefore, you have to review and reconsider what would be the main objective of your study. Would it be theory generation? Would it be development of IEC material? But if you would like to effect change, then it will not be simply an IEC material. Kaya ang IEC material, inaaya for information dissemination. But for instructional purposes, then it could be a more, ano ni gani panawaga, uh, substantial material that would really affect learning to students. So therefore, because well, I know for sure that there were some graduate students who ventured of combining grounded theory with instructional material development. Amo to gani ang gina-mention ko nga if you're going to venture to this kind of exploration, daw nga subuan gawa ko because either one only will be given emphasis. So if you're going to develop instructional material, then daw nga dawaay na nga tagaan emphasis ang theoretical assertion that you would like to advance in that particular discipline. Muna blang punto ko how. So if you would like to generate theories, theories about if we are going to talk about those words which I cannot utter again kay nagaligbus bla hibo ko, di nga daw mo ginaya reaction dayon now. So if that is the reaction, then how does it affect the teaching and learning process and so on and so forth. So therefore, it's up to you, Kevin, on what particular major objective that you would like to venture into. Would it be theory generation? Because theory generation regarding this matter, tinga lang dadamo kag di ma-generate nga theory, such as influence of external factors in the generation of understanding. So see, may mga religion na di nga influence, may mga home influence and so on and so forth. Sa ano sa concept formation. Okay, or you may decide on developing a gender equal instructional material by using design thinking process. Okay. such as invoking or understanding the desire of the student in the empathy stage. And then, kung gusto mo gidyati, include mo ang quasi-experimental. I don't know if you will have the luxury of time to do such. So, therefore, the entire thing needs to be reviewed, Kevin, if I may suggest. That would be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Doc.
Reese.